Well, thank you so much, Ms. Gonzalez, for agreeing to meet with me today. So today we're going to talk about Tony's behavior and our collaboration. So the first time that I observed him for 50 minutes was back in March 3rd. And what I noticed is that the student really struggles with talking and looking around the classroom, which sometimes can cause distractions for all your students. So since then, we decided to utilize a self-monitoring sheet, which you've been implementing in your class, which I thank you for. So I've been meeting with the student, trying to meet with him on a weekly basis to check the progress that he's made on those. And what I found was, last week Tony brought it to my attention that, well, first of all, how do you feel his behavior has been since you implemented the intervention?
I think he's one of those type of kids that responds well to the monitoring, because as soon as he knows he's got a couple marks on there, then he changes right away. It's not that he's perfect, but I think just making that awareness helps him, because on a day if I'm not marking his sheet, before I even started this, I could have told him easily 7, 8, 9, 10 times, turn around, stop talking, whatever, but we never got that far. You can see from the marks on there.
Yes, I did notice.
But I think it did help for him to be aware.
That's good. I'm glad. And I did notice that there was actually some days where he had no behavior concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that it was because the student was well behaved, or is it that maybe he didn't pull out his sheet? What were your findings when it came to that?
It might have been a little bit of both. And he's the kind of kid too, it kind of just depends on what kind of day he's having. Mm-hmm. Some days he comes in really high energy, sometimes not. So it might have been just kind of a low energy day when he was just kind of going to flow. But I feel like I told you one time, he didn't have it out, but I just said, consider that a mark on your sheet, and all I had to do was say that, and then he changed his behavior. So I think it's a combination of things, just kind of what kind of mood he's in, but also just knowing that, oh gosh, we're gonna come back to that again. Okay, I guess I'll behave. So, but I don't know what other questions you have coming, but I want to say I do think it makes a difference, because today after he talked to you, I felt like he thought, I'm off the hook now because I talked to her already. And as soon as he came back, he was just being a little pill. I kept saying, go back to your seat. What are you doing? Why are you on that side of the room? Come over here, sit down. And he was kind of all over the place as soon as he got back from talking to you. But I feel like he thought, no one's watching me anymore, maybe. I don't know. So
today?
Just today, as soon as he got done. So I think it's probably, and even in the back, maybe it was in the back of his mind the whole time that sheet's there, and I'm gonna be marked or whatever. So I feel like it was making a difference, because I will tell him that I'm going to keep monitoring him, but I feel like he really thought, I'm done trying to behave now. That's how I felt. So I think it matters. I think it makes a difference.
Yeah. I was talking to him today, and he mentioned to me that I asked him, I see on your sheet that there was days where you didn't get in trouble and days that you did. I said, what was going on in those days that, where you were well behaved? And he says that it really depends on his mood.
Oh, okay. So I was right,
like, okay, so your mood really impacts your behavior. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so what kind of moods? And he's like when I am well rested, I feel that I'm more focused in class.
Oh, okay.
So he shared that with me, that when he doesn't go to bed late, he feels more focused, and he can sustain his attention on whatever task you have. But if he doesn't sleep well, then he feels like it's hard for him to focus, and then he's looking around and seeing what others are doing.
Interesting that he thinks that about himself, or he recognized that in himself, that he's the type that needs the rest, that's why he needs to stay focused.
And then so I thought that was really great, and I commended him. I'm like, it's really good that you're self-reflecting and you're starting to notice these patterns, right? But another thing that I noticed about Tony was that through talking to him, he shared with me that he feels that the incentive for him is no longer working. So remember how we're working on the ticket reward system?
Oh.
He said that he initially liked that idea. He said that really motivates him, but he says that it's no longer motivating him because it's taking long for him to actually get the reward.
Yes, I see that. Yes, they're very short-term reward. Yes, and I can see that totally. Even in my own classroom, I give out little they can earn little rewards, and if I forget about it and I'm not doing it on a regular basis, then they immediately change their behavior. So that's good to remember. It's just, it's not, you get busy and stuff, but though for those kids, honestly, to make my life easier, if I have him behaving, it actually gives me more time in class, so I'm not spending so much time on things like him. So I do need to remember to make sure he feels like he's recognized and rewarded, instead of just always negative, like that's a mark, you know?
And what I shared with him is that I talked to him about the reward system and telling him, like, we don't want you to be dependent on this, because, and I talked to him about, like, well, what are the benefits of behaving well in class? Yeah. And then he told me that I'm able to focus and learn the material. And I'm like, and what's the negative part of being a distraction in class? He's like, my classmates are out of task and stuff. So he recognizes the impact that he has. And I went on to ask him, like, well, how can we continue to, like, motivate you? And he actually says, phone calls home.
I told you, I don't think he wants his dad to get a phone call or an email. He does not.
Which was interesting, right? But he's like, phone calls home. He's like, because he's like, I have these incentives, but I also don't have any consequences in place.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can see that. It's good to know.
Yeah,
I remember I told you in his parent conference that his dad just, he got all his little mischievous things he'd been up to came to the light in the parent conference, and the dad was not happy. And boy, Tony was so great a couple days after that parent conference, and so I just don't think he wants to go back to that place where his dad's coming down on him. But it's good to know. Some kids wouldn't even admit that. Like, they'll act like, oh, you can call home, I don't care. Really, they do, but they're trying to, like, bluff you. But he was honest, and phone call home, that'll work.
Yeah, I found that to be very interesting. So then for this week, this third log, I told him that the incentive would be a positive call home, and the consequence, because he actually wanted a consequence, is to call his parents and tell them about his misbehavior.
Okay, so you did talk about continuing the monitoring.
Yes.
Which is funny why he came back to class all crazy then. I don't know if he was just...
Well, maybe the reasoning for that is because I told him, I'm not going to give you a new sheet this week because you already have the old one and you didn't fill it out.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. So maybe that's what he thought, like, oh, okay, then.
Yeah, it's not official right now. Like, okay. That explains it. How funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to do it next week or...
I'll still continue it. So just for the sake of my assignment is actually, it ends tomorrow, collaboration.
Oh, okay.
However, I'm willing to continue working with him up until May 4th, because the following week will be my last week here.
Okay.
So yeah, May 4th will be. So essentially, we still have 2 more weeks.
Okay, let's do that then, and then we'll work on both. Either getting the reward to him on a timely manner so he feels like it's worth it, and then also keep holding to consequences. If I say I'm going to call, or email or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's going to be good. We'll work on that. We both will.
Yeah.
Me and him. Do you have any more? Are you sure he has a blank one? He's the type of kid who has a folder with 1,000 things in it and you can never find anything. Do you have a blank one that I can have just in case?
I don't have it with me, but I can drop one off tomorrow morning or today later on.
I'll drop it in my box even, is fine.
Do you feel like there's well, I think that would be a really good recommendation is for you just to have some copies if in case he loses it or forgets to take it out. Do you feel like there's a better method we can use in order to make sure that we're actually using it, that it's been taken out?
I can't think of anything. I like the actual hard copy paper.
Okay.
Because when it's on his desk, it's visible.
Yeah.
But kids like him, it's just hard sometimes. He's very unorganized. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna have to figure out a way to move forward with all the kids who are like that.
Yeah.
So that's fine. That's fine. And yeah, I can always. A lot of times I'll say, you don't have it? Okay, I'm gonna get a copy out. We'll put today's date on it. If you find the other one, we can staple it too. That's why I do the reading logs and stuff. So
okay.
So I like the hard paper.
Okay.
And I think maybe even I can give you colored paper, but even like on a bright colored piece of paper too, so it's even more obvious. Like every time he sees whatever bright green on his desk or something, then he remembers. That's like a visual cue.
I like that idea a lot. Yeah. Is there a folder he has? He's mentioned a folder he has for your class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where he's keeping his sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad that it has like a designated place.
Because although he has to shovel through 80 papers to find it, but it's in there. They were both in there.
Okay, and then it'll be very fitting to have that colored paper like you mentioned.
Find it easy, yes.
Oh, I like that.
Everything else in his folder is on white paper, so that'll be good.
Shuffles paper to find. Okay. Is there anything, like any recommendations about the questions or how I formatted that you think we should amend or fix that would make it easier, more user-friendly?
Not really. The process, not really. I think just keep doing the way we've been doing, but I feel like I think we should pick a date and a time that he knows you're gonna follow up with him. So I can say, let's just say Tuesday at 10 a.m. Let's just pretend. But I can keep saying, she's gonna talk to you on Tuesday. Remember, you're gonna want to show her a good paper on Tuesday. Like, I feel like if it seems really vague and kind of like not set in stone, it doesn't seem real to them almost. And not that you're gonna come down hard on him or anything, but I'm sure he's gonna want. Everyone wants to have affirmation. They want to come in and see and be able to show you a nice good paper that doesn't have a lot of marks on it or something, or be able to come in and tell you that no, she didn't have to call my dad or whatever. So that's the only thing I'd maybe recommend, just to make it more like effective, I guess.
Okay.
It's just for him to just be totally aware that like we're following up. Okay. There's already date and time picks. You will be seeing her again, and so I can just every time I mention it, then he knows. Okay.
I like that idea.
So it's something to try.
And then how did you feel? Typically I call Tony in during PE, which I'm starting to feel is not a good time because he never has his paper. Yeah. And he always says, I have it in my folder. Yeah. So today I was very strategic about calling him in your class. Yeah. And he did bring in his log, so that was good. Do you feel that that's a good time to call him in?
It's fine, but embedded support time is better, which is like the last 20 minutes of class. So if you could do it at that point, that would be...
Would it be okay to send in the slip at the beginning and then you just call him?
Well, because when it says on here, like...
Teachers Convenience, I think?
Yeah, but literally write embedded support on there. Okay. And then I'll remember to send him, or he'll remember to go.
Okay, I like that. Support. Perfect. And then I think I should call him maybe on Wednesdays, considering that's like the last day of the week that I'm typically here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So Wednesdays. In third period.
So maybe, like a week from Wednesday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
And then we can have several days of data between now and the time he sees you. That'd be good.
Absolutely. So we're saying that we're gonna use bright pieces of paper so it's easier for him to identify, and it's like a visual reminder. We're gonna set a day and time for meetings, which we already established as Wednesdays during third period during embedded support. And then something else Tony mentioned to me when we met last week. Oh no, it was today, maybe. I don't know. He mentioned that, like, although he wants to behave well, like he would want for me to go in there and observe him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
And it seems like maybe like through all the things that he shared with me that maybe like he sometimes needs our guidance to like hold him accountable. Like self-management is not there yet for him. Yeah. Like he's not there yet, so he relies on adults, people around him to kind of hold him accountable.
I think that's part of it, but I think part of the reason I chose him is because he is the type of kid that does respond. Mm-hmm. And he wants attention. And he's the kind of kid who will go positive or negative attention, whichever is good. But he does like positive attention, and I feel like he'd feel really good about, okay, she's here, she's watching me. Like he'd be responding to the fact that one, I'm getting her attention, and two, I have a chance to do good and get affirmation afterwards. And he's the type of kid. He's why I picked him, because he's like that kid. There's some kids who could. I care less if you're in the room watching or not. They just couldn't even bother. You're not even important enough for them to care. But he's the type of kid who would respond well to that. So even if you came in for like 15 minutes one day or something and just like made an appearance, that would probably mean a lot to him.
So maybe I think I should probably show up to your class, if you're okay with it, tomorrow, because today he was really acting up and he feels like maybe it's
Yeah.
over or something.
Yeah.
So me showing up tomorrow would be like a reminder, like, hey, you're still being held accountable for this.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the paper at the beginning of class, and I'll tell her. And he goes, oh, you know what she told me when he came back? And I said, what? And he goes, she told me she has a meeting with you. I said, yeah, she does. So I can tell him, I'll tell him, hey, we had that meeting we talked about, and so I just want you to know we're gonna go forward with this a few more weeks, and I'll tell him exactly what we're working on. Like, I'll try and remember to reward you, and then you, but there is gonna be a consequence. And does he call you anything? Does he call you Lupe or Miss Pacias, or what does he call? Does he call you anything?
I don't know. I've never noticed.
You better tell him, because when I never know, I'm like, oh, that lady wants you, because he doesn't know who you are. So maybe by the way you should tell him, oh, you can call me Miss Pacias,
okay,
or whatever you want him to call you.
Yeah.
But I will. What do you want him to call you? Because I'll call
Miss
you.
Pacias.
Okay. So I'll tell him I met with her, and by the way, she said she's going to come in and peek in on you. So just so you know, we mean it when we say we're going to follow up on you. So
okay,
that's a good idea, and then he knows we're not just bluffing him.
Yeah. Do you find that Tony is distracted in a certain part of the day? Like, is it when he comes in the middle of the class or towards the end? Like, when do you find that these misbehaviors are happening?
It can vary, mostly, like we said, depending on his mood. But him with pretty much all the kids, when they come in, it takes them a while to settle down, because they've come in from nutrition and they're all riled up from nutrition, and so they need including him, but he needs a good few minutes to settle down and get acclimated to the classroom and get his whatever materials out. And once he finally does, like you saw that day when I finally get him reading or something, he's fine. But the beginning of class is hardest, and then it could be just depending on mood. Sometimes he's like trouble, and then halfway through the class he just shuts down. Or vice versa, he's fine, and then towards the end of the class, all of a sudden he's then popping up out of his seat and everything. So it just varies with him.
Okay. So there's no specific time where you notice?
Not really, but just coming in and getting settled down is his biggest challenge regularly.
So thank you for sharing that. So when do you find that Tony is focused and not causing distractions? We talked about when he is unfocused, but what about when is he focused?
He does seem to like the reading time, so he's focused when it's reading time, and it's a lot to do. It's mostly it's probably when I'm actually up teaching.
Yeah.
He's focused. It's when it's time to sit independently and get something done. That's his struggle time. But he does seem to focus and track me. I'm in the front of the room, or I'm talking, or something's on the screen. Then he's more focused. But if there's not something to, because I feel like it's entertaining them. It's entertaining to him to watch me or to see something on the screen. But as soon as the entertainment's over, then he's like, okay, forget it. He's bored.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And I think that you do a really good job of making your lecture like engaging based on what I saw.
Oh yeah, were you there when we were doing vocabulary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all the vocabs usually have some kind of funny pictures or something.
So I can see why he's engaged in on that moment. So it's more like when he has to do independent work. Okay. That he's not. So then I'll bring that up to him when I meet with him and see if there's anything we can do to make sure that he's on task when it comes to that independent work.
Maybe I think a good question to ask him is ask him, do you feel yourself getting bored sometimes? And does he think that's the reason sometimes he gets his mind starts wandering and he gets distracted? But then they follow up with a question about what do you think you could do when you find yourself getting bored? What could you do to stop the distracting behavior or distracted behavior?
That's really good. Yeah, I think that those would be really good, and I'll bring them up when I meet with him next week. That'd be really good. So how has it been for you to implement the intervention?
It's been pretty good. It is an easy thing to do, but I will say, because it's in his folder, lost usually, somewhere in the depths of his folder. If he doesn't take the initiative to get it out, then it does tend to sort of slip out of both our minds, and then when he does something to get my attention, something negative, then we get it out and it's okay. It's pretty easy. It's not very time consuming just to make a mark or have him make a mark or whatever, but it's just, if he would take initiative, it would make it easier, but he doesn't.
Okay.
He's the kind of kid who doesn't get anything out unless you directly ask him to, whether it's a worksheet in class or whatever. So that's the hard part. I feel like probably he would maybe have a few more marks on those papers if it had been out consistently, sitting out on his desk. Because, if I'm in the middle of class and the paper's not out and he's doing something, I have to weigh my choices. Like, do I stop what I'm doing, make the whole entire class wait so I can find this paper and make a mark on it? Or do I let it go for now and then just mark him the next time, or have him mark the next time when I have a chance to have him get it out. So I don't know any easier way, though. I think we'll just keep trying to do what we're doing. And, of course, the longer you do it, the more habit he gets in doing it. So just have to build up that habit of getting it out.
Yeah.
Or I have to, remember just ask him at the beginning of class to get it out.
Are all students required to take out their folder in the beginning of class? Okay.
So the first thing you should do is, once he gets to sit down with his folder, take it out. That should be the first thing every single time. But sometimes he's the kind of kid who doesn't remember to get his folder at the beginning of class.
Okay.
But 90% of the kids are sitting there with him, and he's like, oh, my folder. Oh, and it's like, that was so 15 minutes ago, Tony. But yeah.
So hopefully having that bright color is going to make him, associate the self-monitoring sheet, and hopefully...
Yeah, and even when he does, sit down, or even if he's looking for another paper, and he sees a bright green or bright pink or some paper, he might go, oh, I better get that out, since he'll... So we'll see if that makes a difference or not.
Yeah. I'm really excited about trying that.
Yeah.
So I will work on getting those in colored paper and have them to you no later than tomorrow morning.
Okay, we can get some right now. I'll get a few pieces of whatever. We'll pick a color.
Yeah, I have some paper. I can ask Miss Aranda for some and expanded.
There's just some right here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to continue working with him and with you and see that this helps him improve his behavior even more.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's giving me some motivation to maybe try this or a variation with this with a few other kids, probably, as the years go by. 21 years into it, and sometimes I'm like, pick your battles, but something like this is not. It could be very positive. Of course, it starts with noticing the wrong behavior. Yeah. But then it could turn into something really positive, where they're feeling good and I'm feeling good. How they're acting. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suggesting the activity or whatever you want to call it.